welcome to the Khaos Korner podcast. My name's Steve.
Yes, my name's Donovan.
And we have found a way of finally being able to do this podcast.
Whilst respecting social distancing.
Yes, there you go. So, as you can see, we've got a slightly different format. We've got video involved as well as obviously doing the normal, podcasty thing. But today's episode, we are going to do a couple of things. First of all, the topic of the show is, are excuses stifling creativity? And we'll go into that in just a moment. But first of all, we've got some messages for the dwellers.
Yeah, well, firstly, I just want to say I hope everyone is super well. Not just physically and health-wise, but obviously mental health is a big issue. I've had my struggles during the lockdown. And as I'm sure other people have, I don't mind saying that it did become a bit of a struggle. House is a bit of a pressure cooker situation, so hopefully everyone is well, and hopefully, obviously, there hasn't been any residuals. I know things are starting to ease now, but there are still some difficulties, and life isn't what it used to be, and it may not be for quite a while. Yeah. Also, I just want to say a big thank you. Khaos Korner started out as, again, a vehicle to sell my wares, and then it became a bit of a community. But I think during the lockdown, it became more than that. Yeah. For me, definitely, and I know a lot of dwellers have said, it's basically carried them through, and we've kept each other sane, we've kept each other laughing, we've kept each other thinking about creative stuff. Yeah. So I don't want to get too mushy and sensitive. Thank you. No, but I don't want to get too mushy. But I just want to say thanks, guys. I think we've kind of carried each other through in a kind of silly sort of way.
Yeah, I think some of the content that's put on there are dailies, but hilarious, interesting, and creative all at the same time. So that's
and none of that is either of us too.
So sometimes, no. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the corner is a place, if you don't know and you're just copying this for the first time, where we created a Facebook group called Khaos Korner. Go and check it out if you're not part of it. We've just gone over the 300 members threshold. It's a small group, but it's a very active group. Yeah. Everyone gets really involved. There's never any negativity on there. I think that's the thing I like the most, because Facebook in general.
I don't go on my regular page. I can't. I'm trying to stay away from my main feed. I pretty much go straight to the corner, and I know a lot of other dwellers have said that.
Yeah, it is just a vile place to be at the moment. The old
in my opinion,
media,
I agree with you.
The old social media. But it does have its purposes. It brings us together. We've been able to do things like the lock-in pub quiz.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, which we was all be able to do, which was hilarious, by the way.
I've still got my personal gripe on that one. I think I was robbed. But anyway, that's fine. That's my personal
Unfortunately,
gripe.
Donovan's internet connection wasn't the best, and he wasn't...
I wasn't best pleased.
Didn't we have like a round where it was the first to respond?
I was basically trying to answer. I answered about 8 times, and it just wouldn't come through.
Yeah. If you see me turning over to the right, by the way, viewers, it's because I'm making sure the computer doesn't turn itself off.
Yeah, we've not broken into someone's house and recording this.
This is the first time we've got this setup going, and I'm kind of concerned that something's going to go wrong at some point. But
something already has, but they don't need to know that. Oh no, I've already told them.
I've already told them. No.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what have you, creatively, what have you been up to, if anything?
Myself? In the early stages, let's say the first 6-7 weeks, nothing. The well was completely dry. I don't mind admitting that. And then, I think about 6 weeks ago, you and myself had a conversation in regards to maybe doing some film work. Yeah. And that kind of stirred a few things. Brought up a couple of old ideas, and you have a forced life, that kind of thing. I've kind of revisited some old short film scripts and been beefing them up a little bit. A few more notes regarding my trilogy that I'm trying to finish. It's been slow. Yeah. How about yourself?
I've had... Mine's been like a bit of a roller coaster. So to start off with, I was like posting videos like every day. Yeah. Dead active. I was like, this is brilliant. I've got all the time in the world.
That's true. We kind of witnessed the kind of slow unravelling of Steve Nunn at one stage, because your TikToks were becoming... They were funny at first, and then, with the laughter kind of like phase out and goes, is this guy okay? I bet he's getting a message going, "You okay, Steve?"
Okay. TikTok was slowly sending me insane. I've actually not done one for like at least a month now.
I think that's healthy.
Because I've been doing other creative stuff, but it was for the early part though. It was like
Keeping you afloat.
It was keeping my creative mind going a little bit. But now I started off doing like music stuff, like I was singing, doing covers, posting them out. Got loads of views and stuff like that, and I was kind of really motivated. I thought this is going to be a great time. And then
it's that middle bit in it.
And then after, about
that
the
middle bit.
I was like,
I struggle with that middle bit.
Okay, I need to leave the house now. I'm trying to record, and I'm doing it in a room next to a 4-year-old that's running around smashing stuff in the next room. So it's like I can't do this. It's
snap.
So luckily we have this great space, which is pretty big, which we're able to stay, well away from each other. Not that you got the mang or anything, but under the rules.
Mang. Wow.
But,
I heard that expression before.
But yeah, so I got really creative. Had a massive slum where I was like, I'm gonna kill someone. All right, and
then myself.
Yeah. Oh, mate, honestly,
someone's going down in this house.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna be me.
So then I managed to get myself a little bit of temping work. I had to just get out the house.
Yeah.
So I went and did that for a little while. But then, more recently, I've discovered some new musical things, and I've been really motivated again. I've been writing tons of music, been doing loads of co-writing. I'm working with artists at the minute that are local. I'm working with a guy in Ontario.
Is that Sabre Tea?
No. There's a secret behind Sabre Tea we can't tell anyone about yet.
All right. I'm intrigued by Sabre Tea, to be fair. But go on.
Okay, so Sabre Tea is not a real person.
Okay, it's a construct.
Sabre Tea is going to be a CGI character, similar to what the Gorillas did, but a more realistic, human-like person.
I thought you just said it was a secret.
Right. No,
you didn't keep that for very long, did you?
No, but it's gonna be apparent very soon.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because we've been learning how to use CGI because I want to learn to use it for filmmaking.
Yeah. It's a wicked name as well, Sabre Tea. I love that.
Yeah, Mike has created the character, and the voices actually on that, I can't tell you who they were.
Right, okay.
But they sound nothing like the people that did it because we changed the voices, we used technology to make it sound different.
Okay.
So a bit like the idea of the Gorillas, but we're going a little bit more futuristic and a little bit more... He should look like a real person by the time we're finished with it.
Wow, that's cool. I like that.
So...
All right.
Yeah, so we've been playing with that for a few weeks, so that's kept us busy. So I think the topic of the show is kind of a little bit been born out of the whole situation with the lockdown in a sense, because... I, as you know, run a label, and I do other things with other people that I'm working on projects with, and we've had more time than ever to get creative.
It's been a bit of an irony to me because I've had lots of time but no inspiration, if that makes sense. It's creeping back now, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But we've had more time than ever to get stuff done. Simple as that. I mean, there's no other way around it. We've had more time than ever to write. We've had more time than ever to do little things like exercise. Even I've seen more people out exercising than I've ever done. So, but
not me. But I've been working on bulking. Is that what they call it in the industry? That's I've been doing my bulking. I'm going to do my cutting soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll see you in a few months then.
Yeah.
But
I'll be coming in one of them scooters.
But also, without getting into the politics stuff, like stuff that we've seen that's been going on recently about what happens in certain communities, do excuses often stifle, or do they stifle creativity? And my standpoint on it, but I'll put it to you first. What's your thoughts on excuses? Because I've got quite a strong view on this one.
Well, I think maybe you have to separate reasons or catalysts from excuses. Excuses for me has a negative connotation, doesn't it? Excuses are, you're only saying that because of this. But again, we are products of where we come from and our environments and our kind of the people that influence us. And if they are generally all negative, it can be more of a struggle to pull yourself out of it, like what we're talking about off camera, whether it be being successful financially, whether it be being successful in the arts, whatever it might be. It's better, you would prefer to have a good, positive grounding to jump off from than not. Mm-hmm. But what you do find, and we'll probably go into the numbers and stuff, some of the most successful artists don't generally come from the most advantageous backgrounds.
No.
So again, does that...
Like Obama.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That man made,
he's not artist, but
president.
Yes,
so like,
success, right? Yeah,
So success just in anything.
Yeah, success in anything. So yeah, it's better to have a good grounding, but you'll find that having a negative background, whether it be influences or environment, often gives you more strength, maybe.
I think that actually people who come from a
determination,
a poorer background have got more interesting things to talk about, because they've lived like
more conflict.
A 20-year-old me, for instance, has probably had more of a life than a 20-year-old billionaire who's had everything given to them.
Protected from everything.
Yeah. So like, by the time I got to 20, I've been involved in about 200 fights. I've had, do you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I've had times where we nearly homeless. I've had times where, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Billionaire kids never had to worry about most of that stuff. He's obviously got other worries, different strains and stresses being a billionaire, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that generally the people that do make it to the very top, when you actually find out about them, they're kind of more interesting because of the life they've had to live.
Yeah.
Rather than, that they're just thrust into fame kind of thing.
Yes. But I haven't answered your question. Our excuse is valid kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one. I think it really depends. I'll put it back to you though.
I think it's education based. And I think this is again something I talk about lots.
And not just school education.
Yeah, not just school education, but parents as well. But mostly school, because when I went to school called Manor Farm, that wasn't the best school, but I did all right from it, and a few of my friends did all right from it. But for the most part, people maybe didn't do so well from it. There weren't many people from Manor Farm that went on
to be successful,
to be brain surgeons. Let's put it that way,
right?
And that's not. I'm not being negative. It's just not
everyone can be a brain surgeon. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And in the environment where we lived, you were taught that you were going to be a builder, a tradesperson, a foundry, work in a factory, because that's what everyone else
in the area did.
All right, and you kind of almost being manufactured through school and life to get used to the fact that you're eventually going to work in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main excuse, I think, that a lot of people go, oh, well, I can't be successful because I don't come from X, Y, Z.
There, yeah. Okay.
And that's just one excuse. The other excuse that I think is the most overused one is I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
That one
really bugs you, I know.
Boils me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really would quite like to punch people in the throat when I hear them say that. So, and I'll get into why in a bit, but I just think that excuses are something that are handed down.
Mm-hmm.
So, Grandad said, "Oh, we can't ever do this because of this." Mm-hmm. So my dad then says the same things.
Takes it on, and
then I then say the same things, and then I pass that same message on to my kid. Luckily, even though my family didn't maybe come from money, I had people that saw what I did from an early age and really pushed me at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a bit more of a grounding. And now I almost have this mentality where if someone tells me I can't do something, I'm just going to go do it.
That's your red flag.
Yeah, I'm just going to go do it anyway. Just to prove you
wrong.
Your
red rag.
Yeah. So, and for years, we were talked about this before. For years, I was stuck in jobs I hated, and I kept putting off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And then eventually, I just went, I've had enough. I've got to do it, otherwise I'm going to go insane. And then now I look back and I go, all those things I said, all the things I said were the reasons I couldn't have done something back then. Now looking back, were just the most terrible excuses ever.
Yeah.
Because when I actually just went, let's just do it.
Yeah.
I got it done. So now I know from experience that the excuses, that's exactly what they were.
Yeah.
They weren't real obstacles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They weren't real. I just put them there because someone had told me they were real. So it's like, it's real. So and then you just think, oh, well, I can't do that.
Yeah. You didn't have anything physical stopping you disability or health or an inability to do a certain thing. The ability was all there. The excuses were external.
Yeah.
And if the excuses are external and aren't physically stopping you from doing a thing, there's the possibility that you could do them.
Like my biggest one was music. So I played football at a high level, but I probably loved music more than football. But my concentration was on the football because that was the one I had at the time looked like there was a career path for. So I was concentrating on that, but I love that. And the reason being, and I love dance as well. I used to do dance, but I never advertised that. Like, people who know me for 20 years don't know that I danced.
It might be because to do with the environment that you grew up in.
Exactly.
You wouldn't say football mates that you're a dancer as well.
So I used...
Again, environment.
But again, I mean, it's looking at what I was worried about was what other people would think. Say, and that's the biggest excuse, is well, I'm worried about what so-and-so might think.
Yeah.
Who cares?
People won't like it, people take the mickey out of it.
Yeah.
So
who cares? Do you enjoy it? Yeah, if so. So one of the best things I ever did was just reducing my circle.
Yeah.
And just getting rid of people.
I think we do that in general as we get older, don't we?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do. I know I did.
I only talk to people now that I have some kind of real either connection or interest with.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not just out to try and make friends anymore.
Yeah, but I always say this. I always say when we start out, when we first go to school, it is a mission to find your circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why we just... I know, I speak for myself. That's why you do so much stupid stuff. Because you're trying to catch people's attention.
Yeah.
You're trying to impress.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you look back at it and you cringe at some of the things that you did. You think, that wasn't me. Please don't let that have been me. It was you. But then as you get older, you don't... If you're lucky, I feel very blessed to have quite a large group of close friends that were made and solidified a lot of years ago. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
So when you go into an exchange with the confidence of, I don't need you as a friend.
Yeah.
So what happens after this makes no odds.
Yeah.
If we get on, great. If we don't, that's fine as well.
Yeah,
But you don't do that when you first go into school.
It makes
life
so much more interesting as well. Like, the number of people I've met over the last 4 years since I started doing all this. Like, I talk now more often with people who are genuine friends who are multi-millionaires than I've ever done. I'm like, how did I become friends with all these millionaires?
Yeah.
I just literally chose to not care what they might think of me, started approaching them and talking to them. They actually found my skills quite interesting.
Maybe your approach was refreshing as well.
Yeah, and like I say, all stemmed from that success resources thing we went to, that we talked about before. And it was just like, we were really overwhelmed. Me and my brother, we were like, what is, like, all these
What are we doing here?
But when we talked to all of them, most of the people we spoke to, oh yeah, I'm from this council estate in Liverpool. Oh yeah, I lived in Watford for years. Like, I was, a bit of and you're like, hang on, we've all got like loads in common.
Yes.
Just because you're super rich, didn't mean that's where they started.
No.
So I think that, and again, that was another catalyst for me to realise that I've got to stop making excuses because these people are doing it.
Yeah.
What I had to do was start just thinking a little bit more outside the box and going, okay, well, I ain't got loads of money. So, and I'm trying to do something that requires quite a bit of capital up front to start.
Yes.
So how do I get there first? And then I started at that point, and then it gradually grew, and then eventually I got investors, etc. But if I hadn't have just sat down and gone, well, how do I do? Because if you go from like here, and then you like blue sky thinking, like Walt Disney kind of thing. If you got here and you're here, and you just think of all the barriers that are in the way to get to here, you're very quickly going to go, no.
Yeah, you just stay where you are.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But if you actually just go, well, actually, this challenge here, there, if I just concentrate on that one, that ain't that hard. I could do that. So then you do that one, and then you just bite-sized chunk it, and again, it's looking at that goal and going, oh, it's too lofty. Well, that's just an excuse, in my opinion. That's just you just thinking you can't do something when you haven't even tried.
Yes.
Do you know what actually made me come up with the topic?
Go on.
There's two, but one of them last night really solidified. There's a series on Netflix called Titan.
Okay.
With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But how can you not like that guy?
I know.
Right. It's like, it's just brilliant, isn't it? So he runs a show called Titan, And last night, what it is, he takes the most super fit people on earth, puts these crazy challenges, and they have to battle one-on-one against each other to win each round so they can get to this mountain thing and then win that race, etc. But it does look pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And last night, there was one, and I'm just like, I was buzzing. You got this girl who's 27, professional athlete, everything, jacked. Mm-hmm. And then 55-year-old mom, 3 kids. She's a grandma, right? She started training again like 4 or 5 years
ago. So we're automatically rooting for her, obviously.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago.
Because we're Brits.
4 or 5 years ago, she got back into fitness again. Like, so she'd been fit before, lost it. And then, but she's got a lot going on. Like, she actually houses a daughter and their kids because they weren't that well off and stuff like that. And she works like 3 jobs and she does this. And she's like crazy busy, but still finds the time to look like a demon in the gym.
Yeah.
How that's possible. And then she's fighting against this 20-odd-year-old woman, and they have to do this thing where basically they have to run on this platform that's like on a curve and it's really thin. And then they have to smash into this thing either side, and they've got to push it. It's like a pushing thing. One's got to push to the other. Anyway, she gets pushed all the way to here, and she's literally on the ledge, and you just see her just kind of go. And then just goes, boom, digs her feet in and pushes her all the way back around the entire thing. Nice. It was epic. And you just think...
And you're like, yes!
And you're thinking, well, hang on, if a 55-year-old woman can look like that...
Find it within herself,
and can do that, then what's my excuse at 35? And again, and I know that's got nothing to do with creativity, but it does...
No, it's to do with fortitude within oneself.
Yeah.
I've got one.
I love stories.
And
like
this is the first way from creative, but it sprung to mind as soon as you said this woman, the more mature woman's background and stuff, and obviously her family, etc. So we're both parents to quite active 4-year-olds or kind of preschoolers.
Active is the word.
Yeah, preschoolers. They're into everything, blah blah, and that every day is kind of just perpetual motion until they're unconscious.
Yeah.
And sometimes even then they're still talking to you and still moving around. Yeah. So, and we are both still in partnerships.
Yeah.
Whether it be wife or partner or whatever it might be. So
what are you suggesting?
What I'm trying to say is there's 2 of you.
There's
me and my wife.
Yeah.
And sometimes at the end of the day we're just like, do you mean? Yeah. There's just nothing left. There's nothing left in the tank. Yeah. And then you go, oh man. So then someone that I know via family is they're older now, but when they raised 4 kids, and they were all about 18 months apart in age. So they had 4 kids, were married, divorced, ended up alone with one is 18 months, one is just turning 3, the other one is, and that's where they all are.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, how I'm knackered with 1 child and a wife. How does that work? How does someone do that? And this is back in the day. This person didn't drive.
Mindset, innit?
This person didn't drive. This person didn't have pretty much any much money. So whenever they went shopping, all 4 of them went shopping. If it was snowing, all 4 of them went shopping in the snow and walked there and walked back.
Yeah.
How the hell does that work? That's a serious question. You find it.
It's like, all right, so...
You find it?
So, like, financially, we've been doing a bit better in the last sort of 12 months because business has been a bit better.
Yeah.
But then as soon as coronavirus hit, I had like 7 or 8 grand's worth of work for like the next few months just disappeared overnight, gone completely. And I went, oh, crap. I was like, well, how are we going to possibly survive now? Because I wasn't entitled to any of the self-employment
And the people that you owe for bills still want their money?
Yeah. But we've done it.
Yeah.
We've managed it.
You find a way.
And then, so you do, but then we've been looking at that and thinking, well, we're always moaning we've got no money, yet we've had less money than we've had in God knows how long. And yet we're still surviving quite fine and still having takeaways and still doing this. We're like, well, what are we doing normally that's going so wrong?
Yeah.
And again, it's just, we can't do this because of money. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. How much of this... how much are we wasting?
Yes.
That's like the big...
Definitely, creativity-wise.
When that helps a lot with creativity. Money does.
It can do.
Depending on your
it can do.
field.
Yeah, dependent. But sometimes if you break it down, the thing that you want to do usually comes from here.
Yeah.
Here. Typing, painting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That comes from there. How much really do you need? I don't mean top of the range, everything. How much really? And if you break it down, money isn't an excuse either.
No, it's not anymore.
Do you know what
I mean, even with music production now, I just showed you a piece of software just now that you don't even need a keyboard for, and yet you can create the most amazing bits.
Oh man, that blew my face off.
I've
only just put it back up.
It's like, it's mind blowing what you can do, and it's not even expensive.
No.
Like almost anyone can get their hands on that. Like I just
it's
find,
insane.
I just think that I just wish people, if there's anything that people listen to this podcast maybe take from it, is just like stop making excuses. I'm looking at you. Stop making excuses, because I think if there's anything that this lockdown has taught me, money and all the other stuff that you think is important ain't as important actually as you thought it was.
Yeah.
Because we've managed without it. We've managed without a lot of stuff over the last 12 weeks. And the things that I know depressed me the most was not being able to do the things that I loved.
Yeah.
Like my music more regularly, with not just on my own, because I could do it on my own, but like being with other people and working on
seeing
stuff.
friends, family, and mixing.
So if anything, I think the lockdown has taught me to just stop if there's an excuse and I'm about to make it, no, I'm deliberately trying to stop myself and go,
check it first. Is this a real reason? Yeah. Is
this a real reason for me to not do this?
Yeah.
Because I'm guaranteed
that's a good way to live. Yeah.
It's a guarantee. I can guarantee 9 times out of 10 I'm looking at it and going, actually, well, if I just move that around and I just tell that person I can't come till that time, and then I just do this, I've got a 2-hour window then when I can do it. Like, and even if it's like only like a couple of hours in a week, like that you can find, like I bet if you looked, you can find it.
Oh yeah.
It ain't. It's, and again, it's just, I do wish that excuses would just generally just try and like fade them out. You are taught as kids there's no such thing as can't. So why does that message never stick? Because people grow up going, oh, can't do that. Oh, can't do that. And we say it more as adults than we ever did when we was kids.
Yeah, life batters you, doesn't it? That's the thing. You got loftier dreams when you get older. When you're younger.
It does if you let it.
But it does if you let it. And also, something you said kind of jog my memory. I think something that we spoke about very early in the podcasts, very similar to this. And I said, our excuses are kind of sticking plaster for lack of actual real desire.
Yeah.
Because if you want to do something bad enough, like I think of myself, with music.
Yeah.
I was quite a good singer.
Yeah.
A decent songwriter. I don't think I was a world beater, but I was told a lot that I should really put all my efforts into this.
Yeah.
I used to frustrate my father because I think he used to want me to go on them kind of competition shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not saying how well I would have done because I never went for it. And I think deep down, I think someone asked me, why have you never, why do you keep leaving bands, or why do you why do you burn out when it comes to that? You love music. Yeah. I do. But that side of it, I clearly didn't want it enough.
Yeah.
I said to you earlier on, if I could come in here on some of that kit and have a play all day, I would love that.
Yeah.
But as soon as pressure comes in and having to go here and do that, and we got to record at this time, we've got to stay in the studio for this, my interest, it fades away.
I was exactly the same with football.
I had to take that flash off and go, I didn't want that enough.
Yeah. I was exactly the same with football.
I was making too many excuses. I didn't want it enough.
No, I totally agree with that one. As soon as I got to the highest level that I got to, I started to hate football.
Started to lose interest,
because it started to become a job.
Yes.
And it was robotic. Yes. And every day it was like, what the... So when I started the label, I deliberately said, I am going to treat this like a hobby.
Yes.
But run it as a business.
Yeah.
Like, if that's even possible.
It's hard to... Yeah,
so like when I get artists in, I'm not thinking about how much money we're going to make from this song. I'm just thinking, do you like the song? Yeah. Oh, I like the song.
Let's make it as good as it can be.
Let's make it as good as it can be. Let's just put it out and see what happens. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, my thinking on it now is A, I'm enjoying it, and B, someone else is getting something that wouldn't have had access to. And the third one is there is always that chance that we do stumble across that one singer or that one song that just blows up.
Yeah.
But you don't know unless you have a go.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point. But I think that just going a bit more into the creativity side of it, and like your background and the excuses and stuff like that, I do. This is hard without touching on the subject, but I follow them guys I was telling you about earlier called the Hodge Twins, and I think this applies to anyone in any sort of suburb or sort of council estate or whatever you call it around the world. Obviously some far harder than others. You've got third world. I'm not probably counting them in this.
We're talking Western.
Yeah, Western.
Developed world.
So that these two guys are labelled as African American, which was quite funny because they actually start their whole podcast with, "Stop calling me African American. I'm American. I've never been to Africa. I've got no African relatives. I know nothing about Africa." So that was that was the first bit of their rant. But what they actually said was they were from quite a poor part of New York, or wherever it is they are. They then hit the gym with their dad, I think, and then they got quite big, and then YouTube kicked in. So they worked really hard on a YouTube channel, and they got quite big for bodybuilding, but they were really funny with it, and they've ended up becoming comedians.
Okay.
Like that's their job now. They title themselves as comedians, and they are really funny. Yeah. But something they said that struck with me is like they're comedians, they're on stage, and they pointed out that why is it that their culture sometimes look at the others and follow that way. When they were kids, they were looking at people like Michael Jordan and all these sort of big names and going, well, hang on a minute, I'm being told I can't do something because I'm a young black kid, but Michael Jordan's like the most best paid player in the world, and that was their mentality. And luckily they'd got a base of people around them that was going, yeah, if you want to get to that you can. And one of the things that they said was well, do you think that other people, if they don't go to school and they don't work hard and they don't do this and they don't do that, are just gonna get the job? And you were like, well, no, of course they wouldn't. But that applies to me and what I was saying back when I lived in Blacknall. I'm listening to what they're saying, I'm thinking, well, that was the same for me. In a respect, I'm from an area where you're told you can't be the owner of a record label. Are you thinking, you crazy person? Like,
do you know where we are?
Yeah, do you know where we are? Just go
have a look around.
Go work in a warehouse like everyone else.
Yeah. Who do you think you are?
Exactly. And it's like, but it took me till I was 32 rather, to realise that they were all talking horse crap. And
well, it's not to them because that's what they, as you say, it's been passed on.
It's been passed on. And it's a hope.
So no one does it.
Hopefully the new generation. Okay, maybe they do it a little bit too much, but they are questioning things more than ever.
Oh yeah,
they're questioning everything from bloody gender to politics to but they're questioning everything.
And that's a start.
And people don't like that.
No,
because they're like, stop asking so many questions. Do you know why? Because no one's got the answers.
No, it's true. Yeah.
And now kids, and I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing more millionaire kids, creative kids, than ever. Yeah. Kids on YouTube, like creating videos and vlogs. Some of the vlogs that are coming out now are hilarious. Like, we watch a few of them now. They're hilarious. And they're quite young, some of the ones I watch. And I'm learning stuff from musicians on there that have, like this one kid, he got... he needed a snare sound desperately, and something had happened to his keyboard, and he couldn't get the keyboard sound that weren't working. And he saw another producer on TV talk about, I think it was the guy who did Billie Eilish's album, about how he got a snare sound from making a particular noise with a thing. And he just literally went and got a box of matches, went like that, like right by the microphone, and then EQ'd it a little bit, and it sounded like a snare. And then he used that, and he was like, well, there you go, I didn't need a snare.
Ingenuity, that's it.
And so, again...
You found a way to do it.
We just started this podcast, and originally I got a lapel microphone with two things, and then we tried it, it didn't work. We could have quite easily have gone, well, that don't work, let's go home. But we just looked around, what bits of wires, what things have I got that could work, and we stuck at it, and
you fully MacGyvered it. You MacGyvered the hell out of it. MacGyver, I know, yeah, that's one for the teenagers out there. But look at MacGyver, kids.
Yeah, and the other thing that I watched was the Dre and Iveen thing.
Oh, Defiant Ones.
Yeah.
Love that thing, man.
But they did an interview as well. Did you see? I posted it on the corner.
Yeah.
like, how could them guys not come from two completely different backgrounds? Like, and overcome so many different things.
There's so many similarities though as well.
To get to where they got to.
Yeah, incredible. I love that documentary because it's so gripping. It's interesting anyway.
It's one of the best made documentaries I think I've ever seen.
In my opinion, it's gripping anyway because for me, from a creative level, it's got my interest.
Yeah.
But the way they've put it together from a dramatic sense of jumping from one to the other from their very, very early formative years. Maybe we should tell dwellers or whoever listening what this is before I go too far deep into it. But it tracks their past. Yeah. And it tracks them from two different ends of the spectrum, two different races, two different backgrounds, two different ends of the country, whatever it might be. Yeah. And it shows the people that they meet that bring them that one step closer to each other. It's incredible.
It's so good.
Check it out.
But if the
defiant ones.
So if you're currently, because we are approaching the deadline on the time thing for this podcast.
Sum up.
If you are watching this and you are thinking of starting anything, just go and do it. Find a way of doing it because it really is just excuses that you're making a lot of the time.
Get your ass on the corner first.
Yeah, do that
and
first.
Meet the community because we're very welcoming and we will push you to do it.
Yeah, we'll make you do it.
Yeah.
But I think in summary, I think excuses are real. I think for the most part they're real anyway, and people need to make less of them.
Yes. Yeah. I think I agree with you. Yeah. Unless you're being held down. And you physically can't do anything. Then there's a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been great to get this back.
It's good
let
to
us
be
know
back,
what you think of the new format. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to the channel because all our videos going forward, obviously we're gonna have people and have interviews and stuff. That'll all be happening again, hopefully very soon. And
as soon as we can actually get a little bit closer to each other.
We also plan on doing like a review show as well, where we're going to review people's.
I cannot wait.
Where we're going to be reviewing people's work. We've got loads of stuff coming, so it's going to be really cool. So, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
I'll catch you on the corner.